Good morning, students. I am Dr. Gopal Krishnam Gamkar, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Economics, Government Practical College, Tenkanuduru, Udupi. In my last class, we discussed about the exchange rate, the adjustment of balance of payments under gold standard. Today, we will discuss about the automatic price adjustment under flexible exchange rates. Of course, it is based on the price effect. Under flexible exchange rates, the disequilibrium rates, the disequilibrium in the balance of payment is automatically solved by the forces of demand and supply for foreign exchange. An exchange rate is the price of a currency which is determined like any other commodity by demand and supply. As you know, the price of a particular goods is determined on the basis of demand and supply for that particular products. Like that, here also, the foreign exchange currency rate is determined on the basis of demand and supply. The exchange rate varies with varying supply and demand conditions, but it is always possible to find an equilibrium exchange rate which clears the foreign exchange market and creates external equilibrium. This is the point where you have to discuss in detail now. This is automatically achieved by a depreciation or appreciation of a country currency in case of a deposit or surplus in its balance of payments. What does it mean depreciation and what does it mean appreciation? When I talk of depreciation, means I am going to devalue the currency in terms of foreign currency. So our currency in the sense, if you take the example of India and America, or you take the example of Britain and America. So India and America means Indian currency value will come down in terms of foreign currency dollar. And if it is Britain, that is what in terms of dollar, the Britain's pound sterling currency will come down. Appreciation, in other words, we would like to increase the value of our currency in terms of the foreign currency. So, for example, earlier the value of a currency, for example, Indian currency for $1 is equal to 70 rupees because before appreciation, but after appreciation will become, so somewhere else, say 65 rupees is equal to $1, like that. Depreciation is going to be no other end. Okay, I will discuss with details in this particular matters. Depreciation or appreciations of a currency means that its relative value, that is what I discussed already. Depreciation has the effect of encouraging exports and discouraging the imports. When exchange depreciation takes place, foreign prices are translated into domestic prices. Suppose a dollar depreciation in relation to the pound, it means that the price of a dollar falls in relation to the pound in foreign exchange market. This leads to the lowering of the prices of US exports in Britain and rising of prices of Britain imports in the US. When the import prices are higher in the US, the American will purchase less goods from the Britishers. On the other hand, lower prices of US exports will increase their sales into Britain. Thus, the US exports will increase and imports diminishes, thereby bringing equilibrium in the balance of payments. See, remember, if there is appreciation and depreciation in the system, automatically that causes fluctuation in the price of goods in the foreign countries, and appreciations will increase the price of goods in the foreign country. That means our export may come down, and if there is depreciations, then automatically our exports will increase, and at low cost our goods are available in the foreign market and exports will increase, and like that the automatic adjustment that takes place. Here are some assumptions of this particular theory. There are two countries, Britain and US. Of course, the example they have taken is Britain and America. Both are on flexible exchange rate system. BOP disequilibrium is automatically adjusted by changes in exchange rates. Prices are flexible in both the countries. There is free trade between two countries. There is no any government interventions or any impositions of tax or anything of that kind. So that is the point that you have to remember. So I will come back to straight away to the diagram. If you want to draw it, you can draw. Of course, making pause or anything of that kind. So that will be helpful to you to write in the examinations. The adjustment process explains the following figure. This is based on the assumption of relative elasticity of demand, relative elasticity of demand and supply of foreign exchange. Please remember that. I will come back to the law elasticity a little bit later. So here it is relative elasticity of demand and supply of foreign exchange. Here in this diagram, D is the US demand curve of foreign exchange representing its demand for British imports, and S is the US supply curve of foreign exchange representing its imports to Britain. At P, the demand and supply of the US foreign exchange is in equilibrium, where the rate of exchange between the US dollar and British pound is OE and the quantity of exchange is OQ. I hope that you understand the things. This is the equilibrium position now. Suppose disequilibrium develops in the balance of payments of the US in relation to Britain. Okay, it is related to the US governments, US country, where there is disequilibrium in the balance of payment with Britain. This is shown by the shift in the demand curve from DD to DD1. Because of that, there is a shift in the demand curve from DD to DD1, and the incipient deposit equals PP2. Because of this, there is a deposit, that is what? PP2. The deposit is PP2. That is all. P2, you will move from P to P2. That is all. This means an increase in the US demand for British imports, and which leads to an increase in the demand for pound. Once the imports increase, definitely we have to pay for the foreign goods. For the payment, there is a demand for the pound increased. Of course, British US government's imports increase from the Britain, and automatically they have to pay for the imports. For pay that, definitely the pound's demand increases. This implies depreciation of the US dollar and appreciation of the British pound. It means that automatically there is appreciation of British pound and depreciation of, when there is more demand, definitely the price of that particular goods increases. There is a demand, law of demand. So depreciation of the US dollar and appreciation of the British pound, because import is more in US and export is more in Britain. Okay. As a result, import price of British goods rises in the US and the prices of US exports falls. Okay. This tends to bring about a new equilibrium at P1. Remember that there is a new equilibrium in the P1. And a new exchange rate at OE1, whereby the deposit in the balance of payment is eliminated. Okay. Deposit is removed. The demand for foreign exchange equals the supply of foreign exchange at OQ1, and the balance of payment is in equilibrium. Again, it is restored the balance of payment. When the exchange rate rises to OE1, there is another condition that we have to discuss now. When the exchange rate rises to OE1, US goods become cheaper in the Britain and British goods become expensive in US, reverse case, in terms of dollar. As a result of changes in relative prices, the lower prices of US goods and increase the demand for them in Britain, shown by the new demand curve DD1. This tends to rise the US exposed to Britain, which is shown as the movement from P to P1. The same case, there is a change, of course. Here it is a reverse case. Okay, along the supply curve, S. At the same time, the higher price of British goods in terms of dollar tends to reduce demand for British goods and to switch demand to domestic goods in the US. This leads to the movement from P2 to P1 along the new demand curve DD1. Thus, incipient deposit PP2 in BOP is removed by increase in the foreign exchange supplied by QQ1 and decrease in the foreign exchange demand by Q2 Q1. So that BOP equilibrium is achieved at the exchange rates OE1 again, whereby OQ1 foreign exchange is supplied and demanded. This is how the equilibrium will be restored when there is changes in the international demand for the currencies, or it is of course depends upon the exports and imports of that particular goods. The above analysis of course is based on the assumption of relative elasticity of demand and supply of foreign exchange. That may be possible or that may not be possible. That is why we have to discuss about the low elasticity concept here. Please students, this is the explanations, it's available in this video also. You can take this one also, because while writing the exams you need to understand these all things and you need to draw also. So this is for the explanations. And in terms of low elasticity, what happens, that we will discuss now. In order to measure the Paul effect of depreciation on relative prices in the two countries, it is not sufficient for demand and supply conditions to be relatively elastic. This is the thing that I already discussed in the beginning itself. Then what is necessary then? What is important is low elasticity of demand and supply of foreign exchange. This is, of course, we are going to explain or illustrate in this following diagram. Where the original less elastic demand and supply curves of foreign exchange are D and S respectively. See the curves. It is low elastic, less elastic curves, which intersect at point P, and the equilibrium exchange rate is OE. Okay. Now a deposit in the balance of payment develops equal to PP2. Okay. Since the elasticity of demand and supply of foreign exchange are very low, I mean inelastic, I said, it is almost all inelastic curves. It requires a very large amount of depreciation of the dollar and the appreciation of the pound for the restoration of the equilibrium. So if it is mild or slight depreciation or appreciation of currency may not restore the equilibrium that what is needed. There should be huge, I mean big, appreciation and depreciations should be should happen. That is all. It should be needed. The equilibrium will be established through relative price movements in the two countries explained in above. At P1 is a very high rate of foreign exchange OE, but such a high rate of depreciation would lead to very high price since two countries, thereby tending to disrupt their economies. This is the biggest problem, because it is of course that changes in the relative prices, then there may be chances of that. If the prices shoot up and high, then there is a chances of this type of mechanism. So low elasticity conditions is a little bit difficult. Anyhow, earlier, of course, at the time of pre-trade, again that we are coming to the pre-trade also, but it is not exactly as pre-trade. This type of adjustments was happening, and of course even the gold standard, and next time it's a 100% backup by gold or silver. So this are possibles in the foreign markets, but now it is not so easy. What are the criticism then? If we say that it is not so easy, then why it is not so easy? Why it is not happening now? This is the criticism that we are going to take down. The practical use of flexible exchange rate is severely limited. Depreciation and appreciation leads to fall and rise in prices in the countries adopting them. Okay, they lead to severe depreciation and inflationary pressures respectively. See, as we discussed earlier also, if there is heavy increase or decrease in the prices, that is not good for the economy at all, because both an inflationary pressure as well as if there is a depression. Of course, it is a very, very tough time for the depressions. That is why that both will not good for the economy. This is the one reason. And second one, it creates insecurity and uncertainty. Definitely, that creates a lot of uncertainty in the economy. Economy will not work smoothly. There's uncertainties, and as like now this is a pandemic, so economy is definitely in uncertain conditions. So like that things happens. Of course, it's a different case. Anyhow, and second most important thing is that there is chances of speculation in foreign exchange, where it destabilizes the economies of countries adopting flexible exchange rates. Remember that when there is a chance, then people will go and purchase. This is the thing that we discussed in my spot exchange rate and foreign exchange rate. Like that, here also the same thing happens. People will start to speculate because there is a lot of price fluctuations in the foreign exchange market, so they may go for the speculations. That will be very, very tough time for the governments. So government, they will favor fixed exchange rates, which requires adjustments in their balance of payments by adopting policy measures. And after free trade, there is a protectionism, and even the protectionism, number of very strong policy instruments came in, and problem was, of course, try to sort it out, but how far it is successful, of course, there are some defects in that policy also, because purely these two forces are not given opportunity to play. Some problems are always there. However, when there is fixed exchange rate and government is taking very government taken some steps in that respect, probably this type of appreciation depreciations problems may not come into the picture. So I hope that you understand the things, the foreign exchange automatic adjustment under the gold standard as well as under the free floating exchange rates in the systems. So with this idea, I conclude these topics, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me. And the reference aspects that I referred, definitely International Trade of M.L. Jungen, because that is more relevant to you, the students. And the second one, that international economics by Salvator, and some ideas that we brought from the internet sources also. And preparing this PPT, I took the help of my students, Fakir Swami Hiremat, who helped me to prepare this also. Thank you to him. And dear students, please study little bit, attentive now, because we are nearing to the exams, and so there will be, I hope, 10 marks questions will be asked on this. With these ideas, I stop today's lecture. I will come back with another topic in my next period. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you.